4, 3, 2, 1. It's go time. This is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents, Ways to Follow Show, latenightparents.com. Danny Thompson, NBA writer, is in the queue. Danny, what's new?
Ted, I finally am joining your club now. I joined the 40-40 club last week, and I mean, you were right. The drink specials are good, and I was able to get the nice little the introductory breakfast through my app, and the bones are starting to creak a little bit more. But I'm glad to be part of the club, and we have great basketball on this week, and the NHL the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's so many things in sports. But I'm always glad to come by and chop it up with one of the best people in the world.
Oh man, can't thank you enough. Already we got who do we have in the queue? Touring the AFC South. Mike Patton says Danny said he's getting the senior citizen special now at Denny's.
Mike, you didn't want they gave me the number of the reservations. So I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, Mike and Raphael gave me the reservations, and Ted, you told me where the directions was, so we're all in the same boat together now.
I told you, but keep it a band. I told you 10 years ago.
I mean, listen, Ted, we're listen. We don't age anybody here, okay? If
Tony D, what's going on?
What's up to my guy Tony? What's going on with you?
Hey, I want a couple of topics we want to get into. We're going to do this in under 30 minutes. So I think in the barbershop sports days we used to call it rapid fire. Danny, I'm gonna start off with our good friend and favorite owner, Steve Cohen, dodged 2 bullets this offseason. Carlos Correa and none other than Jacob deGrom. Currently, who has the worst contract in baseball, Danny?
I mean, listen, okay. The one thing with Jacob deGrom, now he has the Tommy John surgery coming up, and it's pretty much fried his entire season. His second one, but his first.
Second Tommy John. First one he had in 2010.
Well, like I said, just coming off of Tommy John surgery, which basically fries this season completely, right?
12 to 18 months, Danny.
It's going to fry this season, probably most of next season. So we're going to probably see Jacob deGrom probably sometime in the second half of next season, if anything. It can't be completely a wash until this guy just physically can't come back. Because, Ted, we watched deGrom. We're Mets fans. We watched deGrom come back from Tommy John the first time around, and he was masterful. He was masterful when he was on the mound. So I think at the one part of this is you've got to see what he comes back to. Because, Ted, if he comes back and is still throwing 100 miles an hour, still throwing close to 250 strikeouts, he's still winning 16, 17 games because he's going to get more run support in Texas than he ever had in New York. Then you can't say it's the worst contract ever. It's just more like a Kevin Durant situation. You're waiting for him to get healthy. But if this dude gets rattled and shaked and fried, Ted, we're going on borderline like this is the worst contract in the sports history at this moment. And you would start thinking if you're Texas how to get out of it with the injury settlement or something. But we don't know until he comes back. He's done it before. Let's see if he comes back a second time.
5 years, $185 million. Then there's a 6-year with an option, player option, 6 for $222.
Oh, that option's getting picked
through the first month and a half of his potentially 6-year deal.
Well, like I said, he's gonna pick up that player option. He ain't crazy. So
he's not crazy.
He dropped it in New York. He could have had it in New York, but he decided not to.
Here's the deal. And we love Jacob deGrom.
Oh yeah, we still do.
But when it came down to it, prior to free agency, he hasn't been healthy in 3 years, in 3 seasons.
It's I hate to say it's almost to the Kevin Durant effect in the NBA. Kevin Durant only plays 55 games a season. And the thing is, at some point in the season, he's going to get hurt. He's gotten hurt the last couple of years. So But when he's on, he's literally a top 5 pitcher in baseball and one of the 15, 20 best players in baseball when he's completely healthy in the game. It's just that he just hasn't been healthy. You're correct. Texas took the big swing. Everything goes bigger in Texas. You go big or go home. So they had to do it because, the Rangers were trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Astros. One of the two you want to call them. They got to keep up with the other team in Texas, especially, when they're both in the same division. So they had to do it. The Mets ended up getting Justin Verlander, who got popped literally 15 days into the season. So, but when it's all said and done, Ted, you have to give it. Let me see if we come back from Tommy John surgery before we call it a bust. Don't play.
We're not calling it a bust. We're just saying he's 34 years old. Roughly, he's going to be back at 36.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at probably towards
into
next season.
Potentially year 3 of the contract.
But Ted, if he comes back in year 3, like year 3, year 4 of the contract, and Ted, he's like gangbusters all over again
with a bionic arm.
Well, about the new $1 million man, not the one that's not Junior who's going to jail or the one that was doing the sleeper holds. But when he comes back there with a bionic arm looking like Rookie of the Year, what are we going to say next? It was well worth the wait. So, for Rangers fans, it sucks. But Mets fans already know we've already been through this already. We already knew what we knew about this. So now
let's pivot quickly to before I ask this question, I don't want to hear the words Mikal Bridges come out of your mouth. Where is Scoot Henderson going?
Well, he worked out in Portland already. He said he's only working out in 2 places. He's working out in Portland, working out in Charlotte. He's not working out anywhere else. Sorry, Houston, ain't happening. And we all know that San Antonio wasn't going to work him out anywhere. The real question is Scoot Henderson going to work out in Charlotte? And the second other part is Brandon Miller going to work out in Portland? And here's where I'm going with this. Because Scoot Henderson's workout in Portland was superly impressive from what people have talked about who've been in the building or the reports have come out that it was impressive. There's a scheduled one for Charlotte he mentioned. I think it can happen as early as this weekend. Brandon Miller has not worked out for Portland or Charlotte yet. And the real thing is Portland has told every team in the NBA that Shadon Sharpe is not in any trade talks. So let's not do this right now. Shadon Sharpe's not in any trade talks. But Ted, since everybody knows that Scoot Henderson's workouts is impressive, and Charlotte takes Brandon Miller, let's be honest, how many teams are going to be looking to move up? Or is Portland ready to detonate Damian Lillard? Because if they're that impressed with Scoot Henderson and you detonate Damian Lillard, you can jettison him at the draft. If not, you're going to have a whole bunch of suitors if that workout was that impressive. Right. I mean, you can look as much as Washington. You can look as much as Orlando. You can look as much as maybe even, like I said, we've talked about Boston in the past. I mean, Stephen A. Smith said New York is an option. Listen, you can talk about Brooklyn. I'm not mentioning any names, but you can talk about Brooklyn and Damian Lillard because he was in courtside during the playoffs. Hey, Ted, to be honest with you, what about the Miami Heat? If the Miami Heat don't win a championship, they still got 2 superly attractive pieces down there that you can swap for Damian Lillard real easily. I can't see Philadelphia because James Harden, that's not going to work. Lillard's going to want a win now situation. So let's count the Lakers out of this. Let's count Dallas out of this because of all the foolishness with those 2 teams. The Clippers ain't going to work either. But listen, if it doesn't work in South Beach, they can't win a championship. Don't think that the phone calls won't happen for it to make sense. It could always make sense. And Damian Lillard in Miami is just flat out lethal. Damian Lillard in New York, if it's Brooklyn, it's lethal. Not sure about New York. But it really depends. Brandon Miller working out in Portland, if he decides to, because he hasn't worked anybody yet, will change everything. But if I'm a Hornets fan, you want Scoot Henderson, because I think he has a bigger upside than Brandon Miller. But still, without knowing what Brandon Miller's situation is, it's kind of hard to dictate. But I think whoever gets Scoot Henderson is going to get the second best player in the draft and potentially the Rookie of the Year as a rookie.
So tell me this much. The coaching carousel, we usually kind of associate that with the NFL, but this year we got to do it with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
of the new coaches that were recently hired, which team made out the best?
Well, to me, each of the hires were real interesting. The one team that I would say that's higher, I'm not the most impressive with, is Phoenix. Like I said, Frank Vogel did win a championship, but I'm not sure if Frank Vogel was the hire that is the guy that's going to get Chris Paul and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to that level to figure out how to use DeAndre Ayton. Yes, Vogel did win a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but that was a healthy LeBron James, a healthy Anthony Davis playing in complete synergy. The same 38-year-old LeBron. On the other side, like I said, Nick Nurse was a tremendous hire by Philadelphia. If anybody knows how to unlock the Sixers, I wrote about it on my Substack. It's Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is going to help the Sixers do something they haven't done since Brett Brown, and that's actually offensive rebound, because the Sixers are one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the league, and you have Joel Embiid. But don't worry, Nick Nurse is here to save that, which creates more possessions and less defensive possessions for the fifth best defensive team in the league. So they can be even stingier on the defensive side of the ball. I do love the hire of Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee. Listen, Adrian Griffin gets his first shot at the NBA as a head coach. He's learned under Nick Nurse. He's learned under some great head coaches. And as an African American man, it's great to see a new African American head coach get a championship level job. It is what it is. We want it. I'm happy for him to get that job. Ime Udoka has went out and gotten guys from the Boston Celtics coaching staff.
He's rated the coaching tree of his coaching tree from Boston.
So basically, this is about to become Boston down south with just trying to figure out how to get the point guard situation. And just imagine if Udoka gets James Harden, this might change everything.
Yes.
If you look at the hire, we said Toronto still hasn't hired a head coach yet, and I have no idea what they're doing in this process. I can tell it's probably not going to be any existing head coach, so it's up in the air.
What's going on?
But I think with the coaching carousel, Ted, and I think one of the best coaching carousels we had in a while, it's been interesting. To say the least. All the jobs that have been present, like I said, Doc was let go, Mike Budenholzer was let go. You have former coaches of the years out the point, Monty Williams. We got Monty Williams left from Phoenix, and now he's in Detroit. Listen, and that Uncle Mitchie's in Detroit. He got the bag in Detroit.
He got the bag.
Ted, he has a chance to be the first $100 million coach in the NBA. And Ted, you know who's really licking their chops right now?
Steve Kerr.
No. It's Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra's deal's coming up soon.
Easy.
and don't let Spoelstra win that championship ring, because he's going to be down in the 305 eating lemon pepper wings looking for a new contract. And I can say Eric Spo might be the first $20 million a year head coach in the NBA. If he wins this championship, he can go to the table right then and there and get $20 million a season.
I know you were offline. We were talking about this, and you kind of shut me down because of it. Let's just say Spoelstra wins the chip. Could he then not only request a $20 million contract, but what about executive VP title?
As long as Pat Riley is still walking to beat Miami, I don't think that's going to happen just yet. Maybe in an eventual role that he'll the same way he succeeded Pat on the bench. I think maybe he succeeds Pat in the front office, but to give him that title now with Pat Riley still walking the streets of South Beach, nah, I don't think so yet. The fact that we're getting NBA coaches to $20 million a season, that's already a big enough number. So I think if Spo gets $20 million a season, you can leave the executive VP out of it. He can take it over when Pat's ready to walk away. Kind of the same way Brad Stevens did.
Danny, who's your optimal choice for, I guess, the foil to Skip Bayless on Undisputed?
It better not be LaShawn McCoy. No offense. Who is the heir apparent? See, this is a difficult one, right? Do we go back to the former athlete in this one? Not saying even an NFL player. Do we do the former athlete again to go with it? If you're going to do another media personality, it's got to be someone with a humongous personality to go against Skip Bayless. I can't see Nick Wright doing that. He's been really successful with his own thing with first things first.
I got to interject really quick. If I'm Nick Wright, I don't want anything to do with that. Continue with first things first.
Yeah,
you had your own corner. You had your own space.
Yeah, and the thing is, if what Marcellus Wiley said was true, that it was a power struggle and it's always going to be Skip Bayless' show, why would Nick Wright go from being 1 to 1B, or maybe even option number 2 on his own show? Be honest with you, I think what they should do is, until they can figure out a replacement, I think they kind of go the first take route, Ted, and start really just getting different people in the seat.
It makes sense.
Get different people in the seats. Have NFL people on Mondays. Try to maybe. And listen, Ted, be honest with you, go try to find Michael Irvin right now. Michael Irvin would be a great person to go one-on-one with on Monday after a debate. He's not back on ESPN. I'm sure, Ted, there's going to be, the word on the street is ESPN has layoffs coming. If that's the case, there could be some talent available there for Fox to pick up. I think you're going to have to use different pinch hitters until someone fills the seat correctly. You just can't put somebody in that seat right away, because there's really nobody on the Fox roster that's ready for that. And if they are, I don't think they want to sit back just yet.
Sleeper pick, Max Kellerman.
I mean, listen, you would have to get him out of ESPN's chair for that one. And that's a big number you got to take, because ESPN.
But I think they're going to get him out of the chair.
I mean,
I think he might be a part of the layoffs.
If he is, Ted, I mean, that's a huge hit to ESPN's boxing department right then and there.
Right.
And I don't be any with the fact of the UFC and they're doing a lot more combat sports. I don't know if that was going to be one. I mean, I've heard Marshawn has said it was Steve Young. That could be one. And Steve Young will be an interesting side piece. But man, if Kellerman's let go, yeah, Fox needs to jump on that right then and there. And literally, it would be just funny to see Max Kellerman on the other side of Skip Bayless, knowing that he was on the other side of Stephen A. Smith, and that would be the answer to a trivia question.
I like the rotation. I think you have the blueprint. Follow with the rotation day to day. You have people cycling in and out
until somebody's comfortable. Until you find somebody that draws the ratings, and then you can go forward, and then it makes sense. But even if you keep the same rotating guest, Ted, just to see who can build chemistry with Skip.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I would
like. Pick one.
It's similar to when Danny Thompson would do his radio show, and different people would come and join you for different segments.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and that's the whole point about it, because Skip can talk about so many different topics. You can go so many different ways with guests. So I think they're probably the rotating chair, at least until football season. You go through the whole summer months and then you go to the football season and have somebody in place by the time we get to week 1 of the NFL season.
I'm not looking forward to asking you this question. Kyrie, LeBron, part 2, is it going to be in Dallas, LA, or is it not happening?
You got a better chance in LA than Dallas. There is absolutely no way LeBron goes to LA. There's Dallas. There's no way LeBron goes to Dallas. Even though LeBron can opt out, and Mark Cuban has already mentioned in the past they tried to get him to come to Dallas. His kid's going to USC next year.
Right.
Like, there's no optimal way.
There's no way.
There's no way. I get it. The Lakers have said up and down they're not interested in bringing in Kyrie Irving. Johan Boas report the other day from The Athletic said the exact same thing. The Lakers are not interested in bringing in Kyrie. It's probably because the number he's asking for. And what we all saw, Ted, was the Lakers were 2 different teams this year.
Right.
They were a team at the beginning of the year that was super top heavy. And then after the trade deadline until the elimination, they were a team that was more balanced. And I've always said, Ted, if we had a full season of this Lakers team, the way they were constructed in the playoffs,
yes,
with everybody healthy, Austin Reeves. You bring back Reeves. You re-sign Brewery. Bring back Vanderbilt. I mean, even D'Angelo Russell. Maybe try to find a role for Malik Beasley, who's one of the better shooters in the league. But Ted, you get some players around LeBron and AD, then you have a chance to win. But as we learned, the superstar factor still comes into play because Anthony Davis was so hit and miss in the playoffs. It forces you to have to go get a third guy because we don't know if Anthony Davis can carry the load on nights LeBron can. And LeBron will be 39 next year. This ain't no spring chicken here.
That's true. That's true. Hey, last topic. It's on the PGA Golf, LIV Golf merger out of hell. Does Jay Monahan make it out of this? PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan, does he make it out of this unscathed?
I don't think anybody makes it out unscathed because Monahan basically had condemned this entire idea. Okay. The Saudis, like, they were buying players left and right. They know who's taking it worse. The guys who turned the money down.
The guys who turned the money down, Danny.
Ted, there was a running joke on Twitter today that some of the guys that turned down the money could have bought Spirit Airlines for what Saudi was giving them. The Saudis were handing out $102, $300 million deals.
Saudi Public Interest Fund allegedly offered Tiger Woods $1 billion, which he turned down.
Tiger could have had $1 billion back in the PGA Tour in 18 months. The LIV Golf Tour didn't even last 2 full seasons. Was it 2 full seasons or 3?
Just shy of 3.
Ted, they couldn't get through 2 seasons, Ted, before they folded like the XFL. First time. Ted, they were swallowed.
It's ugly. But I think it's mainly ugly on the PGA Golf side because you know about the blood money. Everyone knows about the blood money. Everyone knows about how Moynihan and others from the PGA were using the families of 9/11 and everything else like that. We already know about it. The players that took the money, you got Rory McIlroy dragging LIV Golf, the players. Mm-hmm. You got Tiger out there dragging these guys. You got Greg Norman looking like the devil spawn as the makeshift CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And now the fold where now no one has to testify, no one has to reveal. There's no litigation hold. No one has to give up any access to their emails or anything else like that. Everything is free. And they're going to we're going to just try and do this together.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the Saudis are involved in it. This is basically Ted, sometimes we say it's a win-win situation. This is a complete media disaster all the way around. Nobody wins this. Nobody wins. Everybody loses, including the guys who turned down 3, 4, 5, in Tiger Woods' case, $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Ted, you got to think, we have 10 zeros in $1 billion. Right?
Yes.
It's 10 decimal places. Tiger hasn't played 10 tournaments since the LIV Golf tournament, LIV Golf Tour started. Nope. He basically turned down $100 million a tournament that he's played in not to play in LIV Golf.
Not to play.
Ted, $1 billion. Do you know what Tiger Woods could have done with $1 billion?
Well, he didn't want to sell his soul, Danny.
Obviously, the PGA Tour did it for him. So, but Ted, it's be interesting. I would love to see how that locker room dynamic in the clubhouse comes when the LIV Golf guys come right back in the PGA locker room.
Yes.
Because those guys are driving Teslas, and the other guys are coming in off of in lifts at this point.
Yes, Ford Pintos. I don't even know where to go with that. It's just.
It's comical. It's completely comical.
I don't think he survives 2 weeks. There's no confidence. There's no confidence votes already for him.
Ted, I think what happens is I think you make any major changes probably after the PGA Tour season. You probably let him survive the rest of the year. But I'm sure there's a contingency plan already in place for his removal immediately. There's still 2 majors left in the year. You don't want to. You got the FedEx Cup coming up right after that. Listen, you basically make him a lame duck commissioner of the PGA Tour, and you already have the contingency plan in place, or you just say, listen, we got one of 2 things. We can publicly fire you and get rid of you after this merger goes through. Or B, you can basically be a figurehead, step aside, collect your check. We're running the place for the rest of the year, and then we say we mutually part ways, shake hands at the end of the season. And that's kind of the idea where I think this is going, because you're right. You don't survive this. You can't survive this. There's no way. You made a complete mockery of the LIV Tour, said everything wrong about this entire operation, for you not only to fold, but to then take in the Saudi money after you called it blood money.
Yes.
It gets Ted, this is dirtier than what's happened with any other scandal in professional sports. This is one of the worst ones.
Oh, wait, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. One other thing. Hang tight, because it was, I sent it, I shared it with a few of my buddies yesterday. And Kareem Benzema, one of the greatest strikers of all time, is signing with the Saudi club. His contract, 3 years, $643 million. That's roughly $215 million a year, roughly the same as the NFL's a specific NFL team salary cap. Saudi money is second to none.
Ted, listen, you got to think what they pay Cristiano Ronaldo to go over there.
Right.
Like, I think he makes like $1 million a week over there. Like, it's insane. 204. Ted. Now you got to think you have strikers on the edge of their career. Ted, they're not even. Benzema's going towards the declining part of his career.
Yes.
So Ted, this is the equivalent, Ted, of almost Kevin Durant leaving the league right now to go play in another country to make this type of money. Okay. Benzema's still the elite striker, but he's on a kind of a downslide. So he's not at the peak of his career. But $634 million, Ted, or 200. Ted, his number is more than NFL salary teams. Ted, he's making NBA salary cap money right now on the teams. We're talking Golden State Warriors in the luxury tax money to kick a soccer ball.
Yes, to kick a soccer ball.
Ted, I'm doing this completely wrong at this point.
We both are.
Ted, Vince McMahon started this with WWE going over to the Saudis. And listen, Cristiano Ronaldo, you got Kareem Benzema. I wonder if they're trying to get Messi next and what Messi's numbers look. If Benzema's 634, Messi's got to be close to $1 billion at this point.
Yep. Hey, Danny, it was a lot of fun. Best ways we can follow you, we can hear from you. We can read what your latest thoughts are. Where can we find you?
Check out my work at 3pointconversion.com. I'll cover NBA coverage, but also, most importantly, check out my Substack, which is called The Wonder Board of Data. A basketball person who loves data, owed and love to talking analytics. It basically helps people who don't know basketball analytics learn more about it and how it makes it more common to the fan, and a little bit more more of a vertical way. I do have some work coming out for that. I do apologize. It's been like almost 2 weeks since I read something. Enjoy my birthday, some family stuff going on, and getting ready for my daughter to be here on Friday. So, I have some work coming. I promise you. There's more draft stuff coming up. There's more NBA final stuff coming up. We have game 2 tomorrow. Okay, so game 3 tomorrow. There's all types of stuff coming out, but I'm super excited about what's coming up. And Ted, I think there is a new metric I'm creating and working on now that is going to be released in the next couple of days. That's going to kind of go over the effectiveness of players and teams across the league that we haven't seen before. So, or at least I haven't come across in my research. So I can't wait to talk about it and come on the show. And I'm pretty sure you'll put the bat signal out and come talk about it.
Definitely. Danny, as always, this is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents. Danny Thompson, do follow him on Twitter. Danny, #3, Thompson, Twitter. We're out.